The DCS World F-16 is terrible at dogfighting. I'm going to explain why with these diagrams and video evidence. I can already taste the salt in the comment section. A big problem is people saying things like this. Everyone mixes their perception of real-world statements with the DCS flight model, which, by its own design, can't be 100% accurate. This isn't helped by basically every DCS content creator saying the F-16 is the best rate fighter in DCS. The F-16 is not the best rate fighter in DCS, and it isn't even close. The F-16 was built to be the best rate fighter, or two-circle fighter, in the real world. Remember, I am talking about its performance in DCS World. This is what a two-circle rate fight looks like. Two jets, nose to tail, rating around a circle to try and get a gun solution on one another. The jet that can sustain the fastest degrees per second will gain the advantage and win the fight. These diagrams can be confusing if you haven't seen one before or aren't a hectic nerd. I will now translate this from pilot language into human words. Many more diagrams and more info linked in the description. A clean F-16, which means no fuel tanks, bombs, missiles, or even pylons, with enough fuel for 5 minutes of afterburner, has a sustained rate speed of 18 degrees a second at about 500 knots at sea level. What does this mean? It means that if a DCS pilot manages to stay close to sea level, goes 500 knots, and pulls as much G as possible without blacking out, they will go 18 degrees around a flat circle every second. So, the higher the degrees per second, the better. For comparison, here is the max sustained turn rate of the best rate fighter in DCS. It has a turn rate of 21 degrees per second at 420 knots at sea level.
Who's that Pokemon?
It's Pikachu!
It's Clefairy!
The FA-18C Classic Hornet, and yes, this is with the same 5 minutes of afterburning fuel and a clean loadout. You can only achieve this rate speed though if you use the paddle switch. If you don't, you will be about 0.5 to 1 degrees per second worse off. You're now probably thinking, how can I trust this data? I've just had two super confusing diagrams thrown in my face by some random on the internet yelling numbers at me. I'm flying the FA-18C Hornet, and across this circle is an F-16. We are about 180 degrees apart. Let's start this timer and see how long it takes for me to get him in my HUD. I'm aware that guns-only fights are rare in the real world, but in a simulator, they are unbelievably fun. Apart from the DCS dogfighting community, not many people are aware of the F-16's actual rate performance and get frustrated when they lose to a lowly Hornet. As you can see, I'm steadily pulling the F-16 into my HUD. Now, 3 degrees a second faster, which sounds low, is actually 17% faster than the F-16 can rate, which in a guns-only dogfight means if we start 180 degrees apart, my nose cone will be inside the F-16 in just 60 seconds. My cannon rounds, however, can hit the F-16 in even less time than that, as I can cash in energy for turn rate and get rounds on target. Here is a list of jets that have a very similar turn rate to the F-16. F-14 Tomcat, Su-27 Flanker, F-15C Eagle, MiG-29 Fulcrum. Here are a list of jets that outdo the F-16 by 10% or more in rate turn performance. FA-18C Hornet, Mirage 2000C, and even the F-16 from Wish, the JF-17 Thunder. I am not blaming anyone for thinking the F-16 is the best. I believed it until I started doing more BFM and learnt how to read an EM diagram. And even though I want them to, I don't think Eagle Dynamics needs to drop everything and fix this. As much as I want the F-16 to match its supposed real-world performance, ED go off publicly available data and may not be able to find enough info to justify buffing its numbers. If someone tries to tell you the F-16 is the best rate fighter in the world, they very well could be right. I'm not a fighter pilot and have no idea. But if they tell you it's the best in DCS world, link them this video. If you want to see me take only 46 cannon rounds in my Hornet into the Growling Sidewinder server and shoot down an F-16, click the video link on screen. If you want to know when the F-16 flight model gets better, subscribe for future videos.